Episode 153, Hidden Marketing Messages Found in Slow Days. This is the Mastering Local Marketing Podcast, and you can find it Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. This may surprise you, but a slow day might not just be bad luck. It might be your business trying to tell you something. Most business owners see slow days as frustrating, random, or something to survive. But what if those quiet hours, empty tables, open appointments, or low sales days were actually clues? In this episode, we're going to talk about how to read slow days differently and use them to make better marketing decisions. He is Matt Hansen. Hi, Matt.
Hello, everybody.
Slow days, huh? Man, no one wants to talk about those, whether it's your portal on the web, whether it is your bricks and mortar store, whether it is your phone not ringing. It's disappointing.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? You just sit there and look at each other. What are we going to do today?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I think people need to realize that that's a hint and that something's going on and that you need to understand what's going on. Now, I get it that not every single day is going to be a home run and not every single day is going to be your normal set of customers calling, coming in, making orders, whatever it may be. But there's data in that. And I've talked about data a million times on this podcast, and we're going to talk about it today, and really understanding the data that is coming in. And the data that from a slow day is telling you something. And people are probably like, well, if you have no data, how is that telling you something? Well, it's telling you something that if you track it long enough, or if you're tracking the number of customers that are coming in, or the number of phone calls that are coming in, or even the number of people that are on your website on a daily basis, you'll understand certain patterns. And I see this a lot where you have different demographics, you have different geographics. Things such as paydays can influence whether or not you're selling on a certain day, right? So a lot of people get paid twice a month, right? Maybe you get paid at the end of every week, or maybe you get paid once a month, right? Maybe you're on commission, whatever it may be. There are all these different payday patterns, and you have to understand that your customer is probably going to fall into one unique pattern. Are you seeing an uptick in phone calls or an uptick in people walking in the door every 2 weeks? Does it drop the next week and then go up the next week, right? So if you're understanding these types of patterns, you can start to prepare for it. You can start to build for it. It's the same thing that we talk about with summer or spring break, or we talk about fall break or even winter break with the kids. And it was like, oh, well, everybody's traveling right now. Okay. Where are they traveling to? We always joke that Indiana is the place you travel to go see family, right? We have the dunes and we have some really kind of neat things in Indiana, but, where are people going? And just because one family travels out doesn't necessarily mean that one family isn't traveling in. So if you understand the patterns and the data that's going along with it, you can make recommendations moving forward.
So, it's kind of weird. Actually, in another podcast, we're talking a lot about routines, and I got a guy that he feels overworked. He's I got to dial back less. So you're creating more pressure to work less, and I'm like, no, it's just about routines and setting up and understanding your routine and managing it, and then maybe some of the less important things fall out of the way. So in other words, routine and understanding how it applies to your personal life can also be applied to your business.
Of course.
And when you're looking at this, what are some of the things that you really like to stick out, and what kind of routines affect the business cycle?
Yeah, you as an individual have your own routines, right? But you don't speak for everyone. So you have to understand that customer demographic and their behavioral patterns are probably the number one way to understand your customer. Behavioral patterns if you don't understand, I always say the easiest way to become a good marketer is to be able to look at a behavior or a pattern and make a prediction on what's going to happen next. And my kids and I talk about this all the time because we watch movies, and I think I've said this a few times in the podcast in the past, is I can't watch a movie because I can already know what's going to happen, because I'm reading the room, I'm understanding they're leading me down this path. These are trends that I need to watch for. And I watched a movie over the weekend, and I cannot remember what it was at this point, but I literally, before every single change in the movie happened, it was 10 minutes before I go, okay, this person's going to die. Okay, this building is going to blow up. Okay, they're going to, and honestly, it was so predictable that I kind of got lost in it, but it just becomes second nature. And I think if you understand your customer base, you'll know that the slow day is coming, and you can prepare for it. And you can prepare for it by creating promotions or different things that will drive traffic, right? So, let's just go back to if your customers they get paid every other week or they get paid once a month, they're going to wait until they have money in their pocket. And we see a lot of this, especially in the service business, where you have delayed payment options, that you've got 30 days to pay, you've got 90 days to pay, maybe you have a year to pay. I've even seen some as long as 5 years to pay on large purchases. If you're promoting those types of things in those downtimes, people are more inclined to come in because they know they have an option. They don't have to wait for 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the line. When you're talking about, the kids are off, it's spring break, whatever it may be, just look at what the museums do, right? The museums in major cities always have fun events going on during those times. They understand that people are traveling. They understand that they're coming in groups. You may have group events. You may have group discounts. There are all these different things that are occurring, but look at some of the larger, more traditional type brands and companies that are targeting that are targeting similar customers to you, and realize and start to learn from what they're doing. Their behavior from a customer standpoint is driving their next step. So they're not sitting there going, well, nobody's going to be around, we're not going to do anything. They've pre-planned for it. And one of my mentors a long time ago, I was working with him, and he said, okay, we've got these upticks and we've got these downticks. And he goes, I don't care what's going on in the upticks. We know we're going to be busy. We know we're going to be selling a lot. But those downticks, how do we pull those valleys up and at least start selling our average during those days? And it got me looking at my calendar differently, because what we typically do is we look at our calendar and we say, here's when our promotions are running. And we're all excited because we get excited for those promotions because we know there's going to be an uptick in sales. But we fail to realize that the real opportunity is the downtick, right? Like, you're going through the summer doldrum right now. You're waiting for fall to start, especially in high school sports, because, we've still got state baseball going on right now. But once we end there, then you get into the doldrums of summer and you've got to wait, and you're kind of getting all the contracts and everything going. But realize that those downturns are the perfect time to do something different that you've never done, just to bring them up. So if you're stealing some sales in those downturns, when you look at your sales over the long term, that up and down motion that you're getting that looks like a heartbeat is going to get more like a flat line. Not to say that in that way, but you want a flat sales line because you're selling consistently across the board instead of up and down and waiting for the next blip.
So in slow times, how does the messaging change?
I think what you're normally doing doesn't work at that point. You need to tailor it to what those individuals are doing, what their lifestyle is, what they're living. So we're in summer right now, and obviously you own Heartland Sports Network, and it's all about getting people in front, getting people ready for the back to school football season, and then we go into basketball season, and those are your two huge sports, right? And you're out there and you're having conversations. It's not about, well, we need to get you in for the state championship in baseball this weekend. You're saying, let's get you in and get you prime location right now before everybody else comes in. Let's get you as many spots as we possibly can so that you are everywhere when football comes back. So it's a different, right? Like it's not a timely thing. We got to get you in by this weekend. We've got to get you into the spots that we want to put you in so you have prime location, prime opportunity to be where you want to be in the fall. And that's a different conversation, right? So, I mean, we don't need to get them in right tomorrow, right? They're fine. They'll be in by fall, but timing isn't as valuable as the message that's going out there and saying that we can get you prime location, we can get you what you want to have in there. And again, I know we're talking to a variety of different businesses out there, but think about your customers. What is most important to them right now? So, we talk about your HVAC guy all the time. Right now it's 65 degrees here in the Chicagoland area, and it's been raining, and we've gone through, crazy tornado stuff again. And is the AC running? No, it's cool outside. Open the windows. You'll be fine. And it's supposed to be in the 70s for another week. So if the messaging that you're typically going out in June and saying it's hot, make sure your house is ready for the heat is not the message that you should be doing right now. It could be it's coming, prepare for it, or it's maintenance at this point. So, just looking at whatever business that you have, you've got a different message and you've got to tweak it as you go along. So slow days mean something's going on, and we'll get a little bit more into that on the next podcast today. But, just realize that messaging needs to change.
So slow times, you're talking about, reviewing your data. You're talking about it's a good time. When I traded in the pits of the Board of Trade, I had a thing of learn or earn. Sometimes the markets were just dead, kind of maybe a little bit like today, and they're just sitting there and there's nothing going up, there's nothing going down. You just standing there, there's nothing you could do, really. And sometimes you get bad weather, you get a bad economy that just, recently we've had some oil shocks and you've seen some spending that has dipped. Sometimes there are things out of your control, but for the most part, it's just kind of cyclical. And then you come around and you're like, all right, well, it is kind of slow right now. Should I be doing something different? Should I be doing some sort of events or some sort of a new product or promotion? When do you know that, all right, I should really just kind of weather this out and watch my costs for, a little while? Or I should just go at it hard and do the new promotion or the new event? What's the deciding factors?
Yeah, so going back to when we had the home decor business, one of the things that we would do is we looked at our sales for the entire year, and we knew when those peaks and valleys were going to happen. And we said, all right, well, let's identify 3 or 4 valleys and let's fill that with something that we've never done before. And we called our vendors, we called the people that we were buying our product from, and we said, what's different? What are you seeing out there in the market that other people are doing? And one of the things that we used to buy prints for the wall, and these elaborate framed prints, and they would say, well, we've got a couple different people that are doing truckload sales. And we're like, well, what does that look like? And they said, well, what we'll do is we'll bring a semi in and we unload an entire semi in the parking lot of prints, and then we work with you on pricing to make it look like a really good sale and all this other stuff. And we said, well, how can we do that? And they said, it's very easy. You just tell us when to be there and we'll be there. You do all the promotion and we'll show up and we'll work together on that. Now, we would have never have known about that unless we asked our partners, our vendors, and we would run those. I want to say we ran those 3 times a year, if I remember correctly, and we would sell, $2,000 in prints in a day, and we would sit there and go, we've never sold $2,000 in prints. We'll sell a picture here, a picture there, but we would do $2,000 in prints on a slow day, a day that we knew we were just not going to have any sales. So we were starting to lift those valleys to kind of flatten that sales line, and revenues were going up because we were taking an opportunity that we identified in the data, and we were taking an opportunity from knowing our vendors and really having that partnership with them and just having the conversation. What can we do? And they were bringing the ideas to us. So if you're not using your partnerships, your vendors, to really kind of ask what everybody else is doing or what's working, who's moving a ton of the product that you sell, and learning from them, then, I mean, I don't want to sit there and be bored on a Saturday in the middle of summer when nobody's coming in. Let's figure out a way to drive people in.
So I'm giving and just another shade of slow times, and it comes from 42 years basically of being in some type of business or one or the other, and I always look at it. Number one, during slow times, you have to follow Malcolm Forbes. And he's like, if you keep your costs low and you learn how to do that, especially during slow times, you can last. And sometimes you can outlast your competitors, and all of a sudden you're still here, and now the market's picked up and you're doing well. But you have to learn how to survive those slow times. And number one to me is you got to learn how to manage your costs. Mm-hmm. Number two is that there are times when it's going to be slow, and you got to decide if it's a learn time or it's an earn time, to me. In other words, like right now, we're really slow in terms of what we do, so it's the summer. So let's start looking at all of our processes, and you saw me walk in here just beside myself about how disorganized and how much work we have to do to learn about our business, learn about our clients, and to organize everything. In other words, work on the business. And then there are other times where it's kind of slow, and maybe we're just saying, all right, we kind of cut our costs as much as we can. We've got our processes in place. Maybe we need to do something different to try to juice revenue. So to me, there's three components to it. Maybe it dissects it a little bit further than what you were just talking about, but cut costs, learn, earn. Yeah. That's how I look at it, and I just pass that along to the people.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that when it's slow time, it's time to clean. I get that, right? But it's also time to learn. It's time to see if you can
review your data mostly.
I cannot stress how many times when I have conversations with companies, they have no data. And it's just, you have to understand numbers. And it's one of the things that I want to dive into in our next episode on 154, which we're going to get to shortly. But like understanding your data, understanding what's going on, because if you don't understand, I obsess about data. Like even with this podcast, I look at the downloads every single day to understand where things are going, what's happening. And, are there upticks? Are there downticks? What are the slow months? What are the crazy months? And I love data because you see growth, you see opportunity, you see, I understand what our customers want to hear more of. And now you're a small or medium-sized business. Look at the data because it's there, and if you're not using it, you're just going to fall behind. I mean, it is so easy to use data at this point, especially with AI, that it can just pick it up and run with it.
I agree on all of that. So understand you're going to have your slow times. Sometimes it goes deeper. You have to look if you're in the right market, if you are, in the right location. I mean, a lot of that all goes into learn. It's all about review what you're doing. What could you do for your business so that when it does get good, you're in a better spot. So in my mind, I'll just reorganize it to cut costs, learn, and then earn. And Matt's talking about, definitely look at routines and think about what your messaging is going to be. And then ultimately, should you concentrate on perhaps some sort of promotion to continue to earn? Last comment.
Know your data, know your customer, know their behaviors, because their behaviors are the number one thing that's going to make you successful.
Episode 153, Mastering Local Marketing. Thanks for listening.